From Sigma Woman, this is the Business for Aligned Women podcast. I'm your host, Clara McKay, your aligned business coach and advocate for all things showing up for your vision. This is a no BS space for brave-hearted women who are actually craving change. I'm dedicated to bringing women's visions into reality, equipping women with all they need to build an abundant future, and shutting down all of the ways that you keep yourself small. Here, we're all about a women-centered approach, non-negotiable value alignment, and making bank without compromising your well-being. Each week, you're already one step closer to your most aligned and abundant future. Welcome to this episode. We're starting a new series. We're going to be doing a success mindset series, and I'm going to be breaking down over a few episodes sprinkled in over the next few months these really key success, motivation, mindset, perspective shifts that I think are the most pivotal and needed for the business women that I talk to every day. And today we're going to go into one of the hardest ones, which is black and white thinking. And if you're a spiritual wellness girly and you feel like you're a very open-minded person, you think, oh, I don't have that, I'm going to end the episode here. Please, I beg of you, listen, because that's probably not the case. And we're going to break it down, and we're going to break down why it's not helping you and why being more open will support you and your business. Before we get into that, in this same kind of mindset space, I just wanted to let you know, if you're not signed up to my newsletter, I do send out once a month. I call them the Holistic Biz newsletters, and they have a lot of perspective shifts, mindset shifts in them, and ideas, suggestions, advice for aligned women business owners. And they really come from what's been happening with my clients that month. And it's usually a bit of a communal experience. I don't know if it's astrological or what it is. So they often really land, and they can just be a nice once a month reminder to hang on, get out of my head, shift, move into execution over overthinking, and just give you a few reminders that I think hit really well. So you can grab that free resource once a month in your inbox from the show notes right now. And I did want to remind you that I am booking out aligned and resonant branding from April and beyond. This is beautifully, sustainably priced branding with everything you need and nothing that you don't. And you can apply for that in the show notes as well. Before we get into today, I'm going to read out some feedback that I got from Maya, who is an amazing homeopath, a very holistic healer, I guess we would say, healing expert. She recently did a 10-week aligned business intensive with me, which is that holistic business overhaul. And she said, investing in coaching with Clara was exactly what I needed to break free from cycles of feeling stuck and discouraged. With her guidance, I've gained confidence, clarity, and tools to move my business in the right direction. I was ready for a coaching experience that offered structure, strategy, and support, and Clara delivered on this on all fronts. I love Clara's approach of tailoring everything to align with my personal values. The systems we built together feel sustainable and truly supportive of my well-being, which is one of my top values. I'm deeply grateful for her support and expertise, and excited to implement everything we've worked on together. This coaching experience has laid a solid foundation for how I approach my business and its growth. So if you're in a feeling of stuckness and feeling discouraged, maybe feeling a little bit like maybe I'm going to throw the towel in or I'm going to pivot, we can fix it. So we're grabbing this piece on success mindset. And what I mean by that is I do genuinely believe that there are certain ways of viewing the world that will serve you in business, and certain ways that will destroy you and sabotage you and be the biggest obstacle and block to your success. And what we're talking about today is probably the most common, and it's the one that I've asked my clients to do the most self-work around over the last 12 months. And that is black and white thinking. What I mean by this is you're operating in a binary of yes, no, good, bad. Yes, I will do that. No, I won't do that. That doesn't align with me. That does align with me. When we're doing that, we're really running on past impressions, possibly even trauma, and we're not running on what's necessarily best for us. Now, sometimes people are very in tune with what is best for them and they are able to operate really intuitively. A lot of my clients are overthinkers and highly anxious, and that often does override that deep intuition, and it comes out in this form of black and white thinking. I have noticed that there's a correlation of the more spiritual slash wellness someone is, the more deeply rooted their black and white thinking is. And I haven't fully fleshed out why I think that is. I think maybe it's because I know a big reason why I backed away from a lot of spiritual spaces and also even chilling out a bit on getting like naturopathy and stuff like that is everything was demonized or put on a pedestal. And there was just no in between. There's no balance, there's no temperance, there's no gray area. And if I think about spiritual worlds, one teacher is right and everyone else is wrong, but everyone's saying that. So how can you know which teacher is the right teacher? Because everyone is so stuck in their ways that they can't see that someone else could have a different perspective, or maybe there's room for more than one approach. So that's me fleshing it out and working it out in real time. But I have noticed this correlation. So if you're someone who is more in spirituality and wellness, I genuinely, hand on my heart, think this is something that you should examine, because it probably is something that you're running and something that's blocking you. And I'll use a few examples. And I will say that when this comes up with clients, I'll just ask them to spend like a month or a week just watching it and seeing when it comes up. And whenever I have done that, the client has responded by saying that they had no idea how ingrained it was. And even from things like what they're doing on the weekend or what they're going to eat, they're just very rigid and regimented, and they haven't left much room for openness and possibility and doing things in a different way. So I've never had someone be like, no, I don't have that. They've always gone away and been like, oh shit, I'm really running this and I can see how it's sabotaging me. So an example of this in a client recently, and when I tell you this example, you'll see how hard it is for a coach or a therapist or a mentor to work with this. And for instance, I was going through a sales process with a client, and I'm like, these are things that you could do, these are optional. And I'm just walking through them to see if she had any questions. And I started saying one thing. I literally hadn't finished my sentence. I was 3 words into the sentence and she shut it down, interrupted me, and went, I'm not kidding, on a 5-7 minute tangent and rant as to why she couldn't possibly try that because of her human design. And I hadn't even finished the sentence yet. And the other half of the sentence was like, you could try this once a month for 3 months. And if it doesn't work for you, stop doing it. Which was, her human design was like, I don't have the energy to be doing that all the time. But that wasn't even what I was saying. But because the black and white thinking is so strong and so ingrained, she wasn't even open to hearing the second half of the sentence. And that is something that I come up against all the time. And as you could imagine, not easy. It's not easy to talk to someone who is so reactive, and black and white thinking makes you reactive. I am even going to go out on a limb and say that it dysregulates your nervous system, because you're feeling like you have to be on the defensive all the time and say no all the time and have excuses all the time and why you're not going to do this all the time, rather than being like, I could give it a go. Maybe it won't work for me. Maybe it will. Can you tell the difference in the energy in me saying that? The energy of someone who is so caught up in their binary way of closed-minded thinking that they can't even let someone finish a sentence, and I could give it a try. It's not even like in the same universe. And what you need to know is that successful entrepreneurship, successful business owners comes from experimentation and iteration. And if you're not willing to try things or do things differently, babe, it's not going to happen for you. So if you are so locked in, and maybe even locked into the labels that you're putting on yourself, like your human design or whatever else it is, even if you can or maybe you've never stopped to actually look at how those labels have served you or not served you. It's not helpful. And there's a lot of cognitive dissonance going on around it. It's very ingrained. And it's a piece of self work that you have to do on your own. And a coach can't do it for you. You have to get very honest and self aware and see where you're playing this out, and then start to be more open to the spaces in between, the options, the gray area. Something that I talk about a lot in my business coaching is massaging. So maybe it's here's the options, here's the parameters, massage it and make it work for you rather than shutting it down before you've even tried it. And a huge thing that people do this around is scheduling social media, having sales funnels set up, showing up on a new social media platform. And like, it's insane. Like, it's crazy because if you have a certain closed-minded feeling about one social media platform, so you're going to refuse to go there, even though that's where all your clients spend all of their time. Like, this is crazy. So I'll chat about why this is going to hold you back, although I think you can already tell how and why it will hold you back in business. But I also want to just flesh out for a second that out of compassion for myself and compassion for other business coaches and mentors, and in building self-awareness with you, I want you to really recognize how hard that is for someone to help you. If you're in that, it's really hard to get through to you, and that really stops people from being able to help you and support you in the way that they want to, in the way that you need to be helped. Introducing Sigma Studio for aligned, considered, and resonant branding. We create beautiful and functional brands. We're offering branding for women-led businesses and creative endeavors. It's sustainably priced and via the strategic lens of a business consultant with over 5 years experience. We will visually speak directly to your ideal client. We've taken the time to listen and understand what you need to make running your business and creating content easeful. We give you everything you need and don't ask you to pay for anything that you won't actually use. We make beautiful, intentionally positioned brands that resonate with you and your clients to help you step into your highest power and grace as a business owner. And just reflecting personally, a couple of weeks ago, I wrote a post-it and I stuck it to my computer, and I won't read the whole thing because it's probably a bit rude, but it says, stop dying on hills. Stop dying on hills with your clients. If they are refusing to do things differently, let them fuck up and deal with the consequences, because they're going to then learn it themselves, and it's going to come from them internally rather than someone just telling them externally. They're going to see it from themselves that it hasn't worked. And it's really hard because I'm saying that to myself, honestly, to self-preserve my own mental health, because dying on hills with people all the time who are so black and white and so closed-minded genuinely is damaging my mental health. But then I'll get feedback from people saying, I'm so grateful for you having those difficult conversations. And the one thing that stands out as you as a business coach is that you're willing to have uncomfortable conversations that other coaches wouldn't have because they are uncomfortable, but are necessary to make the business succeed. And so I've got this great feedback of people saying it's actually really supported them. In the moment, the pushback and the resistance feels like I'm driving myself insane. So it's really hard to hold both of those things at once. And there's, of course, times where I do just let people go with it. I'm not going to crucify myself because I see someone making a really bad business decision. If I've repetitively told them that's a bad decision, that's all I can do. If someone is going to be very rigid and closed-minded when they come into coaching, which is crazy in and of itself, because coaching is feedback. Like, it's not much else than feedback and suggestions. And if you're not open to that, you're not going to get results from it. But I think about clients who've come to me with business ideas that are just not profitable. They're not financially viable ideas. They've done no market research. There is no market demand for this service. And I will tell them that. And they will go, no, I want to do it. This is what I'm doing. And we go, okay, we'll set up the business doing this then. That's your prerogative. I've said my piece, and then 2 years later, I will get a message going, I've had to quit my business, or I've had to pivot, or whatever it is, because it was never, ever profitable. And it's one of the ways that this is holding you back is it's just wasting your time. And I would go as far as to say it's wasting years of your life. Like it's literally wasting years of your life, and it's wasting probably tens of thousands of dollars that you're spending, not to mention that you could have been earning in that time. So these are some of the ways that it will hold you back. It's also going to hold you back from doing things in better, more efficient, more sustainable ways. One of the biggest things I said before is people like not willing to schedule their content. And they're the same people who tell me they're too tired to grow their business. And it's the energy needs to come from somewhere, the time needs to come from somewhere. And that is another one that people will really resist and really push back on me. And then a year or two later, I frequently from these people will get messages going, holy shit, I'm so sorry I pushed back on that. I've just started doing it and it's changed my entire life. It's given me back 40 hours a month. I can't believe I didn't do this. Thanks for pushing me. I've finally done it, kind of thing. So it's going to stop you from doing things in better ways. It's also going to stop you from progressing. And like a big part of seeking advice, and especially seeking advice from people who have succeeded in the thing that you want to do and are a bit further down the line than you are, is they will probably see where you're wasting your energy on things that aren't necessarily working. And if you are closed minded to not doing things differently, you're just going to continue wasting your energy. It's also going to hold you back from just personal growth and being a more self-aware person, because I seriously, I know that there are many different instances of this, but everyone often talks about how you shouldn't take advice from people who are not living the life that you want to live or haven't achieved the thing that you wanted to achieve. And it goes the same way of you should take the advice and the feedback from people who have. And also the people who have achieved what you wanted to achieve and succeeded, they're not going to give you advice that wouldn't help. This is a harder thing to explain, but I'm never going to insult a woman business owner. Even if I can see there are areas where I could give unsolicited feedback to random people that would probably help them, I'm just not going to do it because I just don't think it's a nice thing to do. And I think people who are successful operate like that. If you want help, they'll give you help. They're never going to put you down. They're never going to insult you. It's only people who are like punching up who do that. Like the saying is, people don't punch down. And I know that's probably not a perfect saying, but when you think about it, it's often very true, because the people who are successful don't have time to fuck around trolling other people. They don't have time to send insults or be nasty and things like that. And I know a lot of my clients are probably, oh, you said that thing to me and it was really harsh. And maybe it was really harsh in the moment, but babe, it's going to serve you in the long run. And I'm not an overthinker, but I am pretty intentional, and I never ever say things to my clients unless I can see that it's going to have a direct positive impact. Whether I become the villain in the moment is another question. So when you're getting that feedback and people who are successful are trying to help you out, if you're closed-minded to it, it's just not beneficial to anyone. But I think you can also see just in general that being a little bit open-minded is going to support you in trying new things, pivoting where you need to. A huge part of business is being nimble and being flexible. And if you're closed-minded and you're in your black and white, you can't be that. And you will get left in the dust, I guarantee it. So, this is the first piece of the Success Mindset series to start dropping black and white thinking. If you are wondering about this, what I would suggest for you is to grab a note in your phone, and every time you have a rote, immediate reaction of yes or no to something, I just want you to write it down. If you shut something down straight away, I want you to write it down. And sometimes we shut things down because we have a lot of knowledge and we're intuitive and we know it's not for us. But a lot of the time we're just doing it in a rote way, and sometimes a little bit of openness can really help. So try that out this week. If you feel like, oh, wow, I didn't realize I was running so much black and white thinking. If you have any thoughts about this, if you have any thoughts about the spirituality wellness part of it, I'd love to hear those as well. And we'll go from there. All right. See you next week. If you can't tell, getting to share this time with you is something that I find truly sacred. I know that you're busy, but if you've taken anything away from our time spent together today, could you extend the love and share this episode with a friend, your community, or on your socials? Tag me so that I can see it and I can share it too. Or when you have a spare moment, leave the podcast a review. These things cost you nothing and will mean so much to me. Let's get this resource into the hands of more women visionaries and help us collectively move towards our most aligned way of being and doing business together.